Hi, I'm Jordan Kerbel. I'm the National Director of Public Affairs here at Canadian Jewish Congress. You're now watching the video blog or vlog section of our new and improved website. We're going to try to update this fairly frequently. I'll be interviewing people on a wide variety of hot button issues and topics that are affecting Canadian Jewish Congress, certainly the Jewish community as a whole. The interviews will be short, they'll be raw, they'll be unedited, they'll be unscripted. I mean, basically, I'm just going to try to ask the questions I think the general public would want to have asked, and we'll try to provide you with all of the pertinent information. So without further ado, we'll begin our inaugural CJC vlog on an issue that unfortunately we do have to deal with here at Canadian Jewish Congress, that being anti-Semitism.
Well, easily defined, anti-Semitism is basically Jew hatred. But it's nuances which are more difficult. Certainly back in the the later part of the 20th century, post-World War II, anti-Semitism took on a very singular focus. We were dealing in the 1980s, for example, when I first started at Canadian Jewish Congress, with the extreme right. They were the ones that were definitively involved in anti-Semitism, groups like the Heritage Front and other of these neo-Nazi and white supremacist groups. And in a way, it was well defined. Congress was involved in dealing with these people, as were other anti-racist groups, labor and the left. We all sort of we were an army of tolerance trying to deal with the intolerant. And we were quite successful. Today you don't hear about the racist groups, you don't hear about the Heritage Front. Right now they are yesterday's news. But it became more complicated as we got into the 21st century. We had on one side anti-Semitism, we had on another political side anti-Zionism, and very often they traveled separate roads. However, from time to time, and more often as we, in the last 2 or 3 years, anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism have converged. Where at one time, the goal of anti-Semites, from Adolf Hitler on down, was to make the world Judenrein, free of Jews. Today, while there's still some on the extreme right that want to make the world free of Jews, the new aspect of anti-Semitism is to make the world Judenstadtrein, which means free of a Jewish state. And that's where the new line is drawn in terms of anti-Semitism. So when people out there point their fingers at us, at mainstream Jewish groups, and say, every time Israel is criticized, you call us anti-Semites. That's not true. It's simply not true. We call people anti-Semites or groups anti-Semites when they deserve to be called anti-Semites. And so the line that we have drawn now is Israel is free to be criticized. Go to a Tel Aviv coffee shop and sit and listen for 2 minutes and you'll see Israelis criticizing Israeli policy all the time. In the same way that you'll see Canadians here in Canada criticizing Canadian policy, or Americans criticizing American policy. When you cross the line, however, into suggesting that Israel does not deserve to exist as a Jewish state, then you're crossing the line into anti-Semitism. That's where that line is drawn. What other country in the free and democratic world would it be acceptable for people to say Canada shouldn't exist as a state anymore, or Great Britain should be wiped off the face of the earth? Only Israel, it seems, can put up with that kind of criticism and shouldn't say anything. The fact of the matter is that Jews fought for 2,000 years to come back to their state. It is a state for Jews, it is a Jewish state, but it is a democratic state, the only state of its kind in the Middle East. Yes, when they are involved in doing things that people are uncomfortable with, yes, those policies should be criticized. But if those criticisms end up being so hyper, and that Israel becomes a sole target above and beyond any other democratic nation on earth, when people claim time and time again that Israel does not have the right to exist as a Jewish state, they're entering the unfertile territory, or I should say even the fertile territory, of modern day anti-Semitism.